Hi there. In this lecture we see Max Blau against Bobby Fischer in the Varna Olympiad. This is in round 3, qualification group B. E4 for Max Blau, playing for the Swiss team, Switzerland. We see C5 from Fischer, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes, queen takes d4, knight c6, bishop b5. So maybe this is prepared against Fischer to set up a potentially dreaded Maroczy bind of the bishop takes, c4, setting up a Maroczy bind against Bobby Fischer. Is this a good idea? Fischer tends to do very well against the Maroczy bind, quite often unbinding rapidly. We see knight f6, knight c3, g6, bishop g5, bishop g7. And now white takes a plunge with knight d5, while this bishop would be hanging after knight takes, queen takes, g7. So it takes that opportunity, but it seems better in theory just to castle. And if queen b6 as an example, this situation should end up being about even. It's nothing really to write home about. If queen d2, that just loses a centre pawn for not much compensation. f5 is possible, e5 is possible, black's actually getting a small edge. And if we look at this again, here queen d3, queen takes b2 might be a pawn that one can take and live to tell the tale, except in this line where white's trapping the queen. But if we go back here, if we don't castle here, okay, rook fb1 is threatened. Black actually has here the retreat queen b6. And so here queen a6, this ends up being equal. So essentially the point being made here is that knight d5 is a bit overly optimistic, in fact, when white could have just castled and after queen b6 at least have queen d3 as mentioned, where this is a bit of a dodgy pawn to take. This would be fine for white. However, we have knight d5, and what Fischer does now is very energetic. Coming up, he castles first. We have queen d3, and now he takes on d5 here, e takes, and now knight d7. This sets up a comfortable square on c5 potentially. Queen d2, the queen's like moving a lot, and also the bishop was hitting b2. The queen's moving a lot in this opening. We have rook c8, rook c1. Now the very, very energetic move, can you guess what does Fischer play in this position, which casts doubt on white's structure? Undermining the opponent's structure is one of the key things Fischer is doing very expertly at this point in his career. This is part of his major skill set. Okay, b5, yeah, undermining with b5. We have b3. If c takes, then rook takes c1, check, queen a5 check, leaves black in a very comfortable position here with a big advantage. d5 is weak, king's still in the centre, it's not very pleasant. So b3, unfortunately this leaves white with a backward pawn. It's blockaded for a moment, but now after knight e4, black snaps up, Fischer snaps up the dark square bishop, and he's able to start putting pressure on this paused c4 pawn. So this is a very passive position. White is threatening positioning knight c6. Fischer eliminates this. Yeah, if a6, knight c6, then that's even. So Fischer eliminates that positional threat and carries on working on the paused c4 pawn. And yes, white's going a pawn down. This is a very miserable outcome of the Maroczy bind set up against Fischer. But it seems as though, hold on a sec, a7. Yes, and then e7 after. So actually we have Fischer protecting the e7 pawn. The thing is, which pawn structure is more solid here? These are two different pawn islands. They're a bit weaker. They're harder to protect. There's not many pieces that can just nanny pawns now. We see h3 and rook c4, which has the idea of getting this one. We have rook d1, king g7 for a moment, queen b7, queen e2, hitting the rook, and now rook a4. So the queen keeps e7 protected, and a2 is the victim pawn. Queen b3, queen, and now not queen takes a2, but rook takes a2. So pawn up, check, f6, queen e1, and now here, there's a bit of a mystery for me, personally, in this game. This is a rook and pawn ending which could be welcomed with simplicity, and Fischer could play like Capablanca. It seems as though, you know, Fischer's quite often like Capablanca in endgames. But he actually plays queen e5, keeping the complexity in the position when it didn't really need to be kept. He could have just played queen takes e1 and king f7, and this is just much better, this endgame, for example, like this. It's much better, this endgame. There's a lot of torture opportunity. d5 is weak. But yeah, Fischer kept the queens on, which is a little bit curious. We see f4, and this is an energetic reply. And again, Fischer could have just taken the queens off. This is fine for black. Black can work on this advantage. But queen takes d5, and this invites queen takes e7 check, king h6. Maybe Fischer just fancied a king walk here. And the thing is, yeah, queen f8 was very tempting and played, queen f8 check. But white could have set some problems for Fischer. Instead of queen f8 check, rook f3 would have been quite problematic, actually. If queen d1, then not king h2 because of queen takes f3, ouch. But actually just bringing the rook humbly back. And this isn't so easy after queen e4, d5. This isn't so easy. White's still in the game. Okay, black's got the extra pawn, but why have the queens on? So anyway, we have, though, this unfortunate move, which makes it interesting for Fischer. If he wants to be entertained with a king walk, he's getting his fill of entertainment here after king h5. We see g4 check, king h4. Queen takes f6 check. And guess what Fischer plays here? Or has to play here, in fact. He has to take on h3. Yeah, that's the best move to undermine the g4 pawn. If he went king g3, then queen c3 check. And then white, at this moment, has the opportunity for rook f2 with actually fairly equal position. It's equal on pawns. Yeah, there's no big deal there. So it's important for Fischer to take this pawn to undermine g4. We have queen c3 check, king takes g4, a check, but the game ended here. Yeah, the checks have run out. Yeah, Fischer seemed to make it into a little bit of a king walk thriller in an unnecessary manner here. Maybe he just didn't fancy the rook and pawn ending, drudgery, or technique needed. Maybe he felt that was a bit of drudgery, he wanted a bit of variety. So the game ended here. If it continued, I mean, queen g5, this is obviously not playable. This is just going to be 3 pawns down. So, okay, little king walk there, making it fun. Hope you enjoyed that. It shows, yeah, Fischer never really gets the positional torture of a Maroczy bind. People try and get this Maroczy bind against him. He's breaking out of it. He's just getting a good position. He's just undermining pawns in this game. No one can positionally torture him, it seems, with the Maroczy bind. The Maroczy bind was thought to be a very dangerous thing in the past, almost like as if it gives a winning position. But here, you know, a price has been paid giving the light square bishop up. So black should have some sort of resources based on the light square bishop without a counterpart. And Fischer proves that the light squares are a little bit shaky when he played that very energetic, especially in this continuation, very energetic move b5 here at the right moment. So okay, yeah, very energetic play as usual to hit the Maroczy bind. So I'll take you to the game end again. Position. Thanks so much. Hi guys, if you enjoyed this video lecture, You might want to get more at my course, Kingscrusher TV/Bobby Fischer, which I had a blast creating, over 25 hours of video content. I tried to get the most instructive juice out of every single game covered and picking the most important games from this period. I had an absolute blast creating it, and I think you'll have an absolute blast checking it out. And it's at a big discount code with this link, you know, Kingscrusher TV/Bobby Fischer has the discount code. So I hope you do check that out. Thanks very much.